What's up guys, it's your boy the BattleStar. In today's video, I'm going to teach you how to take your logo and make a custom transition similar to the one that we use when we're live on our gaming channel. Check this out. Alright, so the first thing we do is we have DaVinci Resolve 16 is the free editing and motion graphics design software that I use. You can get it on Apple or on Windows. So first we start by clicking new project here towards the bottom. Then it'll ask you to create a title for your project. So we see we've put it as logo transition video because that's what we're making this video on. So we click create and it's going to bring you out into this scene or this screen where you have a couple of different options. First thing we do is head over to the editing tab and then we're going to go to import media. Now this works best if you already have your logo design, especially if you have a design on a transparent background. So as you can see, we've designed quite a few things, but here's our logo right here. So there's our logo there in the media pool. We're going to take it down, bring it here into the editing tab. As you can see, even though we play this, nothing's really happening because it's a still image. So first thing we do is right click on our little timeline down here. We're going to go to compound clip. You can title it whatever you like. We're just going to leave this compound clip 1 for now. Click create, and then down here is where the motion graphics happens. This is the Fusion tab. As you can see, we have our Media 1 tab. That's the first node. That's basically anything we're putting into the program. And then our Media Out is our workflow and what we've created. So the first thing we want to do is shrink this down to 60 frames and shrinking it down. Now this will make things easier later when we're setting this up to be used as a transition in OBS and in Streamlabs OBS. So the first thing we want to do is come in. These are your different little nodes that let you do a couple of different things. We're going to bring in our transition node or our transform node. Basically the media that we put in is going to do some stuff, then it's going to transfer out to media out. So the first thing we're going to do is click our media transform so we can see all of the stuff that's going on over here. We're going to start off in 0 frames per second or 0 frames. We're going to shrink this down. As you can see, it's real small there. And then at 30 frames, which is right here at the 30, we want it to cover up the whole screen. Okay, so let's show you. First thing we do is, like I said, we come back to 0. We're going to shrink this down and we're going to click this little diamond right here, which is a keynote. And then we're going to move over to our 30 frames per second or 30 frames. We're going to make it cover up the whole screen and we're going to shift it to the right a little bit so it's centered. Now, depending on your logo, you may not have to change it and you may not have to shift around. You may be able to open it up or make it real large and it'll just be centered or covered up. But if you grab this middle part right here, you can actually move this around a little bit. All right, and you see that the keynote is already turned orange. So there's a keynote there, which you can see by this little white line right here. We're gonna come all the way to the 60 mark and we're gonna shrink it back down. You see there's another keynote there. So if we take this, wrong one. If we play this, you'll see the logo is gonna get big and then it's gonna get small. So the reason we set our largest image at the 30 frames is when you set a transition in OBS and Streamlabs OBS, you can actually choose, instead of using the time, frames. And then you pick 30 frames is when that scene transition happens. The other important thing that you want to know when doing a logo transition is that you need to have your logo on a transparent background, which you can use different softwares to take apart. Now, if this is somewhere you want to end your logo with, and this is how simple you want to keep it, that's cool. You can head over here back to the editing tab and see that it's fully set up. And there you go. Now you can use your timeline to trim out some of this. So once the logo hits completely gone, I can actually trim this out to make it a lot smaller and a lot cleaner. But we want to add a few more things just to make it a little bit more flashy. So we're going to come back to our logo. And at 0, we're going to add a little bit of a spin to it. And we're gonna start it off at 0 frames at negative 720. Negative 720. We have it set there to negative 720. And then at the 60 frames, we have it set to 720. All right, so now what that'll do is give us a rotation. Kind of trippy, huh? All right, so what we want to do, we want to make this look a little bit better. And we want it to make it look a little bit smoother. So what we're going to do is click the tab up here in Spline. Click this dot to show you everything that's going on. Zoom out. And these are all the different points in the timeline that you just created where things are happening. So what we do is we right click, create this box here to highlight all of the nodes, and then hit S on your keyboard and it'll smoothen everything out. So now it'll look a little bit better, but it's still doing a little more than what we wanted to. So what we can do is come over to 30 frames per second where we want it to be still. And we look size and angle. So this green line here is our spin. This pink line is the size. So you can actually take these nodes, these white little squares here, and you can drag them out and open up how long the animation happens and kind of do an extra smoothing out. So there, we open that arch up of when it enters the transition, or the size, how long it stays there, and it smoothens out when it comes up. So let's see what it looks like. All right, so what we need to do now is to slow down the spin to get it to stop right there in the middle. So we're gonna create that again, entering into the spin, spinning, slowing down to almost a complete stop, and then spinning back out again. So let's reset our timeline to 0, hit play, and see how it looks. And there it is. So there we have it now at 30 frames per second. It completely stops. The spin, the square is now covering up the center of the screen. Our image behind it, or our scene behind it, is now transitioned. And so we're entering into this new scene. Once that happens, the logo spins out, and that's the end of it. All right, so we're gonna close this, stop this from playing out, head back over to our Edits tab, and let's see what we got. Now it's here in the Edits tab where if you want to add an audio clip or a sound bite or anything else to it, you can add that in right here and you can adjust it. Personally, I had a sound bite, but it was overwhelming, so I took it out, and I like the cleaner, more quiet look. Now that we have that completed, we're gonna head over to the rocket ship down here, which is our rendering tab. All right, so now that we're in the rendering tab, you can name your project whatever you like and save that file location so you remember where it is. I have a folder for my DaVinci projects. You're gonna click your individual clips. If you're on Windows, you're gonna use QuickTime as your format. Now this is the important part. Your codec, you want GoPro Cineform. Type, I did 16 RGB bit. The reason that you wanna have this set up is because you wanna be able to export it in alpha. And real quick, if you're working on an Apple computer, you're gonna wanna use this information here for setting up your transparent background on your renders. Your format's still going to be QuickTime. You're going to then use Apple ProRes, and then below that, Apple ProRes 4444. This will give you the ability to export your video on the alpha, give you that transparent background, so you can still use your logo as a transition. This will give you just the logo with a transparent, so this whole video with a transparent background. So it's just your logo spinning in, and that gives you the ability to put something behind it. Once this is all set up, you're going to add to render queue, see it over, click start rendering, and then it's going to take however long. Luckily, this was a short clip, so it's already all set up. All right, now that everything's set up, saved, we're going to actually bring down our DaVinci Resolve program, slide over our Streamlabs OBS program, which we're using to record this video. And you can see we're here in this work tab. Once we hit the edit scene transition here, we have our new Stingers transition set up. What you would just add transition, you can name it however you want. So logo spin. You're going to change the type to Stinger, which is what allows you to do custom transitions. Find your where you saved your file. Now, earlier in the video, we mentioned setting it to a specific key or a frame on the timeline. The reason we did that is because we can change the transition point within the streaming software that you're using. We set it to frames, put it at 30 frames, which is where the logo is the largest and covering up the most screen. I usually leave the monitoring off and fade out transition just the way that's set up. Click my logo spin, hit done, and now when I change scenes, you'll see this. So if you found that video helpful, smash that like button and join me in the comment section. Let me know what you need help on or what other types of things you would like to see me create. And if you want to see how we use the things that we create on this channel during a live stream, follow the gaming channel both on Twitch and here on YouTube, link down in the description. So as always, thanks for stopping by and peace out.